Yo, shalom, shalom. You are not tuned into all that rah-rah with your Hebrew brother Mylo Judah. And this episode will be about the sensitive topic amongst Israel. And that topic is, of course, a man having more than one wife. Because even in the dispersed nation of Israel who are scattered abroad, here in America, a man having more than one wife is considered taboo, right? So even for Israelite men and Israelite women who will tell you that, we need to turn back to our customs, we need to turn back to the ways of the Most High, when you bring up multiple wives, most of them still will tell you that that is adultery, that is fornication, that is a man who is whoremongering, that is a woman who has no self-value. I mean, the insults, they go on and on. And it's to the point now with sisters, they will go on Clubhouse and create rooms to emasculate men who are polygamous. And you will have simp dudes who will go in those rooms, trying to get some coochie and agree with everything that that woman is saying when he himself is not a monogamous man. And also, what a lot of brothers need to understand is that there is a lot of envy and a lot of jealousy amongst so-called black people amongst themselves. So you may see a brother flourishing with 3 or 4 wives, and you may see a brother angry who has no wives saying that polygyny is unlawful, but in all actuality he may just actually be upset because he doesn't have one wife and the next man has multiple wives. Because if you call yourself an Israelite and you study the Bible the way you are supposed to study the Bible, there's honestly no way that you can say a man having more than one wife is unlawful. It honestly makes no sense. Now, I can understand if, you were to say that, hey, brother, in your circumstance, it's probably beneficial for you not to have more than one wife because one wife is a headache, so 2 wives would be 2 headaches. But for brothers to say it's unlawful, aka it's sin, you brothers have to stop that. Because now you're adding to the book. But anyway, we're going to let a sister talk about multiple wives, an older sister, and see exactly what she has to say about it. So, with all of that being said, let's analyze.
They now force men to do one by one. It's a Christian marriage. This marriage is a Christian marriage.
She said, a man who is forced into a marriage where he can only have one wife is participating in a Christian marriage. Right, and from the terms of Christianity, then yes, that's definitely a Christian marriage. But if you just take the term Christian for what it is, follow of Mashiach, which is basically a marriage from the Torah, and no, that's not necessarily a, Christian marriage. Right? But even still, brothers, I will say this. There's nothing wrong with monogamy. It's not a crime for a man to say that he desires one wife. And there's nothing wrong with polygyny. It's not a crime for a man to say that he desires more than one wife. So, there's nothing wrong with a man saying he desires more than one wife. Period. Matter of fact, this is the book of Judges, chapter 8, and verse 30. It says, and Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many wives. Right, this is 2 Chronicles chapter 11. Starting at verse 18, it says, and Rehoboam took Mahalath, the daughter of Jeremoth, the son of David, to wife, and Abihail, the daughter of Eliab, the son of Jesse, which bare him children, Jeush, and Shemariah, and Saham. And after he took Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, which bare him Abijah, and Attai, and Zizah, and Shelemith, And Rehoboam loved Maachah, the daughter of Absalom, above all his wives and his concubines. So, when people try to say, oh, well, what if he has a favorite wife? Or, what if he loves one wife more than the other? Well, that's scripture. It is what it is. Right? It says, for he took 18 wives and 80 concubines and begat 28 sons and 80 daughters. Now, when I say, that scripture, it is what it is, that doesn't mean that you treat your other wives bad, per se, or less than, right? But that's just something that's in a man's heart. I love her, I like her more than I like the others. It just is what it is, right? But anyway, so verse 22, it says, and Rehoboam made Abijah, the son of Maachah, the chief, to be ruler among his brethren, for he thought to make him king. And he dealt wisely, and dispersed all his children throughout all the countries of Judah and Benjamin unto every fenced city, and he gave them victual in abundance, and he desired many wives. So there's nothing wrong with the man saying he desires more than one wife. Period.
You must live with one wife. That is why the case of side chick will never stop.
Sis said a man being forced to have one woman is why the case of the side chick will never stop. And I agree. I agree, because that's the reality. That's the nature of a man. Most men, to not want to be tied down to one woman. And most women would say, well, why can't he just, be for one woman? Because that's not him, sis. That's not him.
All these women loitering around, who will marry them when they got no family? Who will marry them? And in 5 to 10 years coming, government will have no other option than to force women on men. So that is why I am saying you should not compare. Do not do that comparison that your husband cheats, will cheat.
She said in 5 to 10 years that governments are going to have to start forcing women on men. But, in 5 to 10 years, we don't know what the hell is going to, we don't know what the world is going to look like. She also said that women shouldn't compare a man having more than one wife with cheating, because it's not cheating. And, I've grown to an understanding where, I used to say that a man couldn't cheat. But I do believe you can cheat a woman of a decision. You can rob a woman of a decision, right? Even when you read Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 11, it says, ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie to one another. And, when you go into the word lie, it says to do or deal falsely, be false, trick, cheat, right? So you can deal falsely with your woman, and you can cheat her of a decision. And I know, you brothers don't have to take my word for that. I know brothers are still going to disagree with that. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. I'm just stating my perspective. But, when you do rob your woman of that decision and you wonder why she shuts down on you, please understand that, you didn't give her a choice. And I know brothers will say, well, she don't have a choice. And I understand, brother. Trust me, I get it. Being a brother that understands the scriptures, I do understand that that woman, she's supposed to submit to you in all things. But you also have to understand reality, right? You have to understand the society that we are living in. The woman has so many options. So even if a woman knows the Bible, they will still get in their feelings and get in their emotions and do what's contrary to the Bible. So brothers have to take that into consideration. They have to understand that. Because no matter how you feel, reality is reality. You operate different than the woman, for the most part. Because a lot of brothers are effeminate as hell.
Normally, every man should be living with 3 wives.
I disagree with that now. Not though every man should be living with 3 wives. Hell no. Hell no. A lot of niggas don't need 1 wife.
This week, this woman will sleep with this man. Cook for him. This other week, the second one will cook. Do you know that those days, in the time of our great-grandmothers, as I am now, maybe I'm of age, I'm getting older and weak, I will bring my younger sister and give my husband to marry.
Did you hear that, so-called black man? She says she's getting up there in age. She has no problem bringing her sister to her husband and giving her sister to her husband. Right? Hey brothers, when you read 1 Kings chapter 1, when you start at verse 1, it says, now King David was old and stricken in years, and they covered him with clothes, but he got no heat. Wherefore his servant said unto him, let there be sought for my lord the king a young virgin, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let her lie in thy bosom, that my lord the king may get heat. So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Israel, and found Abishag the Shumanite, and brought her to the king. And the damsel was very fair, and cherished the king, and ministered to him, but the king knew her not. Right? So, I'm just showing brothers a case where the man had gotten old, right? So, pretty sure Bathsheba had gotten old as well. And what happened? They brought him a younger woman. So I'm just pointing that out to brothers.
Do you know that? That is why men are evergreen. Everly green. Men are foundation of the world. That is why in Igbo land, if you have not given birth to a male child, you have not started.
Sis said men are everly great and the foundation of the world. If you don't give birth to a male child, you're not leaving your mark. All praise to the Most High for my son.
Are you telling me that is why in marriages a woman will be menstruating and a man will have to wait for 5 days or thereabout? After menstruation, the woman will go into ovulation, mood swing, unhappiness, not being happy, shawarma time, what's it called? Pizza mood. So many moods before she come out of the mood. She will tell the man she don't want to do sex now, I'm not interested. But in the time of our father, when you are menstruating, another woman will take over.
Hey, she said in marriage now, when a woman is on her menstrual, that a man has to wait 5 days. But in the time of our forefathers, when a woman was on her menstrual, another woman would just step right in. She'd just take over. Right? And what's one thing sisters love to say today, brothers? Oh, what you gonna do? What they supposed to take turns? Hey man, I'm not telling you brothers how to run your house or whatever, but as far as turns go, that type of stuff just happens, right? Sex isn't planned. Nobody plans to have. Of course, you may have a date where you're having a long day and you may text your wife like, "Hey, I'm coming home. I'm hitting that," but that's but on the regular, sex isn't planned, man. So I don't even understand why women say that. And honestly, the longer you're in a relationship, sex slows down, right? Ain't nobody getting it in every day. Now, I don't know about going 5 days apart, maybe 2 or 3, but I don't think people are getting it in every day once they've been in a relationship for a while.
All of you cannot menstruate at the same time. If this one is, if you are menstruating, you cannot serve your husband food, you can't cook for him, you cannot sleep with him.
Hey brothers, sis was speaking Torah. I know you heard that. right? This is Leviticus chapter 15. It says, and if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the even. And everything that she lieth upon her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. And if it be on her bed, or anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the even. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers or blood be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the burial whereon he lieth shall be unclean. Right? So sis is speaking Torah.
We worship our men like God. Our men are our God. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
But they brought Western colonization, took our religion, took our way of life, took our culture, took our tradition, took our everything.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, starting at verse 1. It says, the sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars, whilst their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. So this is the book of Daniel, chapter 9, starting at verse 7. It says, O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Israel. Right, so our people don't know who we are. Right, and as I just read in Jeremiah chapter 17, that our heritage was removed from us. Right, it says, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. Right? Right, so let's turn to verse 11. It says, yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him. Right? And he have confirmed his word, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done, and has been done upon Jerusalem. So, if you don't think that it's a great evil, that there are over 2 million more so-called black women in America than so-called black men, I don't know what to tell you. Right, so the curse is definitely poured upon us, that you read in Deuteronomy chapter 28, right, that you read in Leviticus chapter 26. Those curses are definitely poured out on our people as a whole. Now, you know, a lot of brothers, they will take you directly to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and start right at verse 15, but verse 1 through 14 tells you, you know, how to receive your blessings from the Most High. Right? And brothers, you can receive blessings in captivity. You can have, you know, the Most High's hedge of protection around you in captivity. Don't let brothers tell you different. And also, another form of brothers receiving their blessings can come in having more than one wife. So the point is, we've been discontinued from our heritage, right? Our customs have been removed from us. We don't know our culture. Therefore, we don't know exactly what it takes. We don't know exactly what marriage looks like. right? So when people try to speak on it, especially from a biblical standpoint, most people don't know what they're talking about. So that's what sis is saying, as far as, we've been removed from everything.
Collected our marriage, gave us white wedding, gave us so many things that is not benefiting us, and suffering our men in toilets, forcing our men to be doing shop.
She said that our men are forced to clean toilets in this society, basically saying that we fail from our rulership. And basically, our women are supposed to at least make us feel as if we are kings. But, we can't receive that in this society because the woman's mind is warped by the Western society.
In the name of masturbation, and you're telling me that as a woman, that you are still going to be insulting your husband. If after watching my video, you continue pointing fingers at your husband that is a cheat, you are an evil woman and you are supposed to be ostracized from the land.
She said retaining sex from your husband is insulting to your husband. And if after you watch her video and you point the fingers at your husband and you call him a cheat and you are a fool of a woman and you deserve to be ostracized from the land. Right, so brothers, it's a big difference from the woman who grew up in the Eastern society compared to the woman who grew up in the Western society. Right, our women are westernized to a big degree. Now, there are some women that you can mold into the woman that you desire to have, right? But for the most part, the so-called black woman is damaged goods. And I say that with all due love and respect, because even at the end of the day, even though she's damaged goods, for the most part, you can still clean them off. You can still find some diamonds in the rough, right? There are some that are being raised correctly, right? Honestly, brothers, as long, in this day and age, as long as you have a woman who's willing to listen to you and follow you and not disrespect you, right, and respect manhood and masculinity, and, the moment you tell her to be quiet, that she be's quiet, then, that's pretty much what you have to go with. And I'm just being honest.
If after watching this video you say you must cheat on your husband, that he cheat, you cheat, you should be spat on. You should be ostracized, pursued out of the land. It's a sacrilege for a woman to open her mouth to say that. You don't compare yourself to a man.
She said, if after watching this video and you still say that if your husband goes out and lays down with another woman, that you're going to go out and lay down with another man, that you should be spat on and ostracized from the land. And that's just like a woman to say that out of her mouth. You do not compare yourself to a man. Brothers, do you hear how serious she is? But when you talk to these Israelite women in America, it's a big difference. It's a big difference, right? They don't understand how they are supposed to move. They don't understand the customs, right? They make everything about the Most High sound like he's just, this nice guy. Not kind, nice, right? And what's the etymology of nice? To be ignorant, right? But they make the Most High sound like they can do whatever they want to do, and he's going to forgive them because they're women, because they know that they're Israelite women, right? But this is this woman saying that, this is this sister saying that these women deserve to be spat on and ostracized from the land, saying that they'll cheat if they believe that their husband is cheating, or that if their husband goes out and get another wife, that he's a cheat, right? Now, like I said earlier, when I stated that a man can cheat his wife of a decision, brothers, I'm speaking in today's reality, in today's society. We're right. We know in that time that It was no problem for a man to just go get another wife. The pettiness came amongst the wives, right? Or even when you read 2 Samuel chapter 6, that, Michal, she was jealous of David dancing in front of everyone. And the only thing that she mentioned was David was dancing in front of the women. But even still, all of that starts with women being jealous. Right, when you read Sirach chapter 26, right, around verse 6, it says that a woman who is jealous of another woman, right, she's scourged of the heart. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. So, brothers, you just have to understand that the woman in America, the American black woman, she's totally different from the woman that you read about in the scriptures.
There's a way to go through. You don't have a go through, the men have it. So you don't compare. There is no room for comparison. The Western colonization has affected us. The Western colonization has killed us.
The Western colonization has affected us. The Western colonization has killed us. She gets no disagreements from me.
That is why cheating will not stop. Side chick will not stop. It did not stop in the Old Testament. It did not stop in the Bible. And the ones that want to introduce New Testament, did it end in New Testament?
She said, men, quote unquote, having side chicks. It didn't stop in the Bible. It didn't stop in the Old Testament. And for those who want to introduce the New Testament, it didn't stop in the New Testament. Hey, but check. So I just want you all to see, the ammunition that you give individuals. When you say dumb shit like, the New Testament, it prohibits a man having more than one wife. It never said that. It never said that. Right? Even when brothers go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 2. I mean, brothers, do you know what fornication is? I mean, serious question. I may have to do a video just on the topic of fornication, because a man having more than one wife is not fornication. So just off the term itself, that could not have been what Paul was talking about. I mean, come on, man. And the term own doesn't necessarily denote the meaning of one, right? I mean, I have siblings. We have the same parents, right? We have our own parents. They have their own children. Children, it's plural, right? I can't go out and get another parent. I'm my parents' possession. My parents can make another child. You get what I'm saying? And that's their own child, as well as me, as well as my other two brothers. So a man having his own wife or his own wives, and then, according to the law, a woman cannot sleep with a man who's not her husband, right? So therefore, let her have her own husband. So don't sleep with a man who isn't your husband, so you can avoid fornication. It's very simple.
The recent pastors that we have now, I don't know the New Testament pastors, have they stopped cheating? Have they stopped sleeping with other women? Have they stopped sleeping with choristers and your wives? The New Testament pastors, I'm asking, hypocrisy.
When you read 1 Corinthians chapter 5, starting from verse 1, you will see that brothers were sleeping with their fathers' wives. Not their mothers, their fathers' wives. So it didn't stop in the New Testament either.
We must go back to our old-time religion. The old-time religion, we must go back to our old way of life.
AKA, we must repent and turn back to the ways of the Most High.
We must go back to the way we believe. If not, is he cheating or not cheating? Your husband will cheat. Forget it that, you go give us the cheating language. He cheated on me now. He cheated on me now. We know the truth. I know the truth. You know that you know the truth. They gave us cheating. He is cheating on you. What do you call cheating? Our fathers married many wives and they stayed in love without jealousy.
She said, you know they gave us cheating. What is cheating? Our fathers married many wives and they stayed together. Brothers, man, So these women know that it's nothing wrong with a man having more than one wife. But the issue here, it lies in women. First off, the first thing they think about is a man having sex with more than one woman. That's the first place that their mind goes to, right? And then after that, it comes the petty questions, right? Well, does she get Monday and the sister gets Tuesday, right? They never think about the familial aspect of it, right? They are supposed to be sister wives, meaning they move as sisters. You feel me? But yes, these sisters know that the ways of America are not our ways. They're not our customs. Even, the Egyptology sisters. Right? I mean, they always say we need to go back to the way of our ancestors. But when it comes down to, the Egyptian man having multiple women or multiple men, they're not with that. Well, now they are with that homosexual shit, but that's a whole other story, right? So, yes, brothers, these sisters know.
They had concubines without jealousy. Once you can take care of them, they live happily. This time around, your husband will just look at a woman one side and say, why are you looking at a woman who is calling you on the phone? Why are you doing this? Why are you not doing that? Bullshit.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 36, and verse 22. The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better. Brothers, there's nothing wrong with looking at a beautiful woman. Don't let your wife make you feel bad for looking at a beautiful woman. Now, you don't have to overdo it. But, brothers, you're not blind.
Western colonization is our problem, and it must change. If not, hey, go and build more coffins. Because if the Western colonization did not change us with all the problems we have faced because of what they have done, if we don't overhaul our reasoning and throw away the Western colonization, embrace our own, take our culture, tradition, if we don't take it, women will be killing their husbands.
Right, so she said a lot. But the moral of the story was, she basically stated that if we don't take our culture back, if we don't remove our heart and our minds from the Western society, that women will be killing their husbands. Right? And this is the book of Sirach, chapter 25. Right? And we're going to start at verse 23. It says, a wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. Right? So, the brother's always sad, the brother's always down. Brother's weak physically because he's stressed out, may have formed some form of arthritis or carpal tunnel. Right? The stress does that to you. Stress beats you down. Mentally first, then physically. Alright, so women definitely have the ability to kill their husbands, slowly but surely.
So we are talking of DNA test. This time around, they will be openly shooting their husbands because the women of today have wickedness, hatred. My fellow men, the only thing is I'm a woman, but I will tell you, fear woman.
So she said, women today, they have wickedness and open hatred. Then she says, my fellow man, listen, I'm a woman. So listen to her, brothers. What is she about to say?
Fear woman. Woman is the only person that met devil face to face. Ate the apple, you did not eat the apple. If a woman tells you she's going to kill you around 7 o'clock, it will not pass 7 o'clock. She says she will kill you around 12, brother. 12 o'clock, you are done. Go and buy your coffee. So that is why the Western colonization should go.
So she said, if you have a woman and you tell her to clean at 7 o'clock, and she says okay and agrees to it, and she doesn't clean at 7 o'clock, you don't let it go past 7 o'clock. You say something. Right? Same thing for 12 o'clock. Don't let it go past 12 o'clock. And then she said, that's why this Western society must go. Right, because women aren't held accountable for their actions in the Western society. Women can do whatever the hell they want to do, right? And with another woman in the home, it's basically a competition amongst themselves, right? Therefore, they are going to have to be held accountable, or you are going to look bad in the home. And they don't want that, right? They want that power, right? They want that power. They don't want to give that power back to the so-called black man, especially the so-called black man. Black man?
Men should marry more than one wife, and sanity will be restored in Africa.
She said men should marry more than one wife, and sanity will be restored in Africa. So, I don't live in Africa, I live in America, right? And I don't necessarily believe that men should marry more than one wife. But at the same time, brothers, if you have your finances together, if you have, a career, or you have your own business, and, you're in a good spot in life, or whatever, yeah, I see no issue with you going ahead and taking in another wife, right? And even when you read the scriptures, it tells you that David was a poor man on the run when he got Abigail and Ahinoam, right? He had 2 wives and he was a poor man. So I'm not saying you have to be rich either. Don't get it twisted. But at the same time, brothers know in their heart of hearts if they're not ready for 2 wives. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. All right. So I'm just saying make sure your shit is in order before you think about taking on another wife. All right. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. But also don't let someone run the game on you by telling you that it's a sin and that the New Testament says you can't have more than one wife. That's not true.
That is the message I have to tell you today. If you like, you take it all. If you like, continue going around looking for your husband, who you cheat and who you do not cheat. Now you go suffer them at the end of the day.
Okay, brothers. So that's it. We're done analyzing. Right, so just because you can have more than one wife doesn't necessarily mean that you should. And that's the whole point, man. Brothers, we just have to always be wise when we're making decisions like that, because those type of decisions can affect our life, right? Positively or negatively, right? And it's so easy to get in trouble, but it's so hard to get out of it, right? And 20 minutes of pleasure can turn into a lifetime of hell. And brothers do not need that. So, brothers, just always pray to the Most High before you make decisions, right? Counsel with brothers that you trust and love, brothers that you know trust and love you, right? Talk to yourself about decisions. But above all, pray to the Most High, right? And see that He guides you in your decisions. That's pretty much it, man. So, yo.